Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances and all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This evening's reciters are Grish Prabhuji for English and Falguni Mataji for Sanskrit. They'll be reading from Canto 3, Chapter 21, verses 29 to 43. Mataji, will you be able to say the invocation 3 times, please, before you start? Thank you.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Mataji, you can start.
Text 29. Yapta Atma Brutam Viryam Navadha Prasa Vishyati Virye Tvadiye Rishaya Adasyanti Agna Satamanaha.
Text 29. She will bring forth 9 daughters from the seed sown in her by you, and through the daughters you beget, the sages will duly beget children.
Text 30. Tvam cha samyag anusthaya nidesham ma usattamaha mai tirthi krita shesa kriyartho mam prapatsaye.
With your heart cleansed by properly carrying out my command, residing to me the fruit of your acts, you will finally attain me.
Text 31. Krutvadyam chajiveshu dattva chabhayam atmavan maya atmam nam saha jagat drakshyasi atmani chapimam.
Showing compassion to all living entities, you will attain self-realization. Giving assurance of safety to all, you will perceive your own self and well as the other universes in me, and myself in you.
Text 32. Sahaham swamsa kalaya tvadviryena mahamune tava kshetre devahutyam praneshya tattva samhitam.
O great sage, I shall manifest my own plenary portion through your wife Devahuti, along with your 9 daughters, and I shall instruct her in the system of philosophy that deals with the ultimate principles or categories.
Text 33. Maitreya Vacha. Evam tam anu bhashyatha Bhagwan pratyag akshaja jagama bindu sara saha sarasvatya parishritat.
Maitra went on, thus having spoken to Kardamuni, the Lord who reveals himself only when the senses are in Krishna consciousness, departed from that lake called Bindu Sarovar, which was encircled by the river Saraswati.
Text 34. Nirikshastas tasyayava ashesha siddheshwara Vistuta Siddha Marga Akranyan Patra Rathendra Pakshay Uchritam Stomam Udirnasama.
While the sage stood looking on, the Lord left by the pathway leading to Vaikuntha, a path extolled by great liberated souls. The sage stood listening as the hymns forming the basis of the Samaveda were vibrated by flapping wings of the Lord's carrier Garuda.
Text 35. Atha samprasthite sukle Kardamo Bhagavan Rishi Ashte Sma Bindu Sarasi Tamkalam Pratipalayana.
Then, after the departure of the Lord, the worshipful sage Garda stayed by the bank of Bindu Sarovar, awaiting the time of which the Lord had spoken.
Text 36. Mano Syandanam Ashtaya Shatakaumba Parichadam Aropya Swam Duhir Taram Sa Bharya Parayatam Mahim.
Swayambhuva Manu, with his wife, mounted his chariot, which was decorated with golden ornaments. Placing his daughter on it with them, he began travelling all over the earth.
Text 37. Tasmin Sadhan Vana Ahani Bhagavan Yat Sama Dishtat Upayad Ashrama Padam Munehe Shanta Vratesyatat.
O Vidura, they reached the hermitage of the sage, who had just completed his vows of austerity on the very day foretold by the Lord.
Text 38 and 39. Yasmin Bhagavato Netran Nyapatan Ashru Bindava Krupaya Samparistasya Prapanne Pitaya Brasham Tadvai Bindu Saro Nama Saraswatya Pariplutam Punyam Shiva Mritajalam Maharishi Gana Sevitam.
The holy lake Bindu Sarovar, flooded by the waters of the river Saraswati, was resorted to by hosts of eminent sages. Its holy water was not only auspicious, but as sweet as nectar. It was called Bindu Sarovar because drops of tears had fallen there from the eyes of the Lord, who was overwhelmed by extreme compassion for the sage who had sought his protection.
Text 40. Punya Druma Lata Jalai Pujat Punya Mriga Dvijay Sarva Ritu Phala Pushpadyam Vana Raji Shri Yanvidatam.
The shore of the lake was surrounded by clusters of pious trees and creepers, rich in fruits and flowers of all seasons, that afforded shelter to pious animals and birds, which uttered various cries. It was adorned by the beauty of groves of forest trees.
Text 41. Mat Dvija Ganeir Gushtam Mata Brahmara Vibramam Mata Barhi Natatopam Ahvayan Mata Kokilam.
The area resounded with the notes of overjoyed birds. Intoxicated bees wandered there, intoxicated peacocks proudly danced, and merry cuckoos called one another.
Text 42-43. Kadamba Champaka Shoka Garangna Bakula Snehe Kunda Mandara Kuta Jaisha Chuta Poter Alankaranam Karan Devaihe Plaver Hamseha Kurer Air Jala Kukutahe Sarasais Chakara Vakaisacha Chakorair Valgu Kujitam.
Lake Bindu Sarovar was adorned by flowering trees such as Kadamba, Kampaka, Asoka, Garanja, Buka, Asala, Kunda, Mandara, Kutuja, and young mango trees. The air was filled with pleasing notes of Garandeva ducks, palavas, swans, ospreys, waterfowl, cranes, chakravakras, and chakoras. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Falguni Mataji and Girish Prabhu, for the nice recitations. Thank you. Dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Madan Prabhuji will be joining us shortly. So whilst waiting for Madan Prabhuji to join, I'll recite the Mangalacharan prayer. And after that, I'll ask for some volunteers to read some of the discussion verses today. So you can all join me behind muted mics to recite the Mangalacharan prayer. ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलम् श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं सद्वैतं सवधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त कंचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्रीवासदि गौरा भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. So, dear devotees, I'll just share my screen now and then we will start the recitations. Please bear with me. Okay, so we'll be reading verses or text 26 to 30. And I hope you can all see my screen. So let me ask for some volunteers who would like to read the Sanskrit and the translation, please. Any volunteers? Or if you can't read the Sanskrit, at least try the English translation. Any volunteers?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Is it verse 21, yeah?
No, we're starting with 26 today. These are the discussion verses.
26. Okay, all right, yeah, sure.
Thank you.
26, yeah? Oh,
That's
hang on.
right, Mataji.
Yeah, all right, just a second, Mataji. I'm just, here, 26, okay. So I'll do translation and, just a translation, isn't it? There's no purport. Okay, translation. The day after tomorrow, O Brahmana, that celebrated emperor who is expert in religious activities will come here with his queen, Satrupa, wishing to see you. Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Would you like to do the next one
Yeah,
as well,
sure.
please?
Sure,
27.
Mataji.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, translation. He has a grown-up daughter whose eyes are black. She's ready for marriage, and she has good character and all good qualities. She is also searching for a good husband. My dear sir, her parents will come to see you, who are exactly suitable for her, just to deliver their daughter as your wife. So, purport. The selection of a good husband for a good girl was always entrusted to the parents. Here it is clearly stated that Manu and his wife were coming to see Kardama Muni to offer their daughter because the daughter was well qualified and the parents were searching out a similarly qualified man. This is the duty of a parents. Girls are never thrown into the public street to search out their husband, for when girls are grown up and are searching after a boy, they forget to consider whether the boy they select is actually suitable for them. Out of the urge of sex desire, a girl may accept anyone, but if the husband is chosen by the parents, they can consider who is to be selected and who is not. According to the Vedic system, therefore, the girl is given over to a suitable boy by the parents. She is never allowed to select her own husband independently.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for the very nice reading. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Anyone would like to try text 28, please? Sanskrit and translation. Okay, otherwise just the translation. Any volunteers? And the purport? Pativyas Mataji, would you like to try?
Yes, Mataji. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna. Translation. That princess, also a holy sage, will be just the type you have been thinking of in your heart for all these long years. She will soon be yours and will serve you to your heart's content. Purport. The Lord awards all benedictions according to the heart's desire of a devotee. So the Lord informed Kardama Muni, the girl who is coming to be married with you is a princess, the daughter of Emperor Swayambhuva, and so just suitable for your purpose. Only by God's grace can one get a nice wife just as he desires. Similarly, it is only by God's grace that a girl gets a husband suitable to her heart. Thus it is said, that if we pray to the Supreme Lord in every transaction of our material existence, everything will be done very nicely and just suitable to our heart's desire. In other words, in all circumstances, we must take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and depend completely on his decision. Man proposes, God disposes. The fulfillment of desires, therefore, should be entrusted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the nicest solution. Kardama Muni desired only a wife, but because he was a devotee of the Lord selected a wife for him who was the emperor's daughter, a princess. Thus, Kardama Muni got a wife beyond his expectation. If we depend on the choice of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we will receive benedictions in greater opulence than we desire. Hare Krishna. Oh, sorry, Mataji, I can carry on. It is also significantly noted here that Kardama Muni was a Brahmana, whereas Emperor Swayambhuva was a Kshatriya. Therefore, intercaste marriage was current even in those days. The system was that a Brahmana could marry the daughter of a Kshatriya, but a Kshatriya could not marry the daughter of a Brahmana. We have evidences from the history of the Vedic age that Shukracharya offered his daughter to Maharaja Yayati, but the king had to refuse to marry the daughter of a Brahmana. Only with the special permission of the Brahmana could they marry. Thus, intercaste marriage was not prohibited in the olden days, many millions of years ago, but there was a regular system of social behavior. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Pati Mataji, for the very nice reading. Thank you. Okay, we'll go on to text 29. Any volunteers, please? Shobana Mataji? Okay. Anyone else? Orpita? Hare Krishna, Orpita, are you there? Okay.
Mataji, I can carry on if
Yes,
nobody wants
please
to.
do. Yes,
Okay.
please. Thank you.
She will bring forth 9 daughters from the seed sown in her by you, and through the daughters you beget, the sages will duly beget children. Text 30. Mataji, you need to scroll up, please. With your heart cleansed by properly carrying out my command, resigning to me the fruits of all your acts, you will finally attain to me. Purport. Here the words Tirthi Kshatresha Kriyartha are significant. Tirtha means a sanctified place where charity is given. People used to go to places of pilgrimage and give munificently in charity. This system is still current. Therefore, the Lord said, in order to sanctify your activities and the results of your actions, you will offer everything unto me. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you sacrifice, the result should be given to me only. In another place in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord said, I am the enjoyer of all sacrifices, all penances, and everything done for the welfare of mankind or society. All activities, therefore, whether for the welfare of family, society, country, or humanity at large, must be performed in Krishna consciousness. This is the instruction given by the Lord to Kardama Muni. Maharaja Yudhishthira welcomed Narada Muni. Wherever you are present, that place becomes sanctified because the Lord himself is always seated in your heart. Similarly, if we act in Krishna consciousness under the direction of the Lord and his representative, then everything is sanctified. This is the indication given to Kardama Muni, who acted on it and therefore received the most excellent wife and child, as will be disclosed in later verses.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Pati Mataji. So nicely recited. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhattaji Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So let me just check and see if Madan Prabhu has joined us.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, Prabhuji, I've recited the Mangalacharan prayer, and we've also finished reading, just only finished reading all the texts that you'll be discussing today, 26 to 30. So, over to you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for holding the fort. And my apologies, dear devotees, that I'm still on the road, so I've just been able to find a quiet place in the station. So if you hear any sounds, then my apologies. So today, we'll be doing verses 26 to 30, and I'll just do the invocation from here. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Mataji, I think you can maybe stop scrolling. I'll just because I've got this with me. So since we have already read, I don't think we need to read the text anymore. So
shall I make you the co-host, Prabhuji?
No. Don't worry about making me a co-host. I'm not going to share anything.
Okay.
So we don't need to share anything on the screen. We can just have a discussion.
So can I stop? Shall I stop sharing then?
Yes, please.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So at this point of time, it's good to know where we are today. And it's always good to begin reflecting on how we have come to this stage. So this is a conversation that's going on between Manu and Kadama Muni, and Kadama Muni has seen this beautiful form of the Lord, and he is so effusive in his praise, and we have so far we have been seeing hearing a lot of messages that we can really be inspired by in the month of Kartik. And now in text 22, Lord Vishnu, he's so far he's been listening very smilingly to Kadama Muni and his prayers, and he looks at the sage with a smile full of affection, and then he starts talking. And what he says is that, having come to know what's on your mind, I have already made arrangements for you. And this is also a made me reflect on at least one thing which we keep forgetting from time to time. Because why do we go to the temple? Many of us go to the temple because we would like to have some fulfillment of some desires, and those desires can be material or they could be spiritual. And usually, when we go to Tirupati, when we like offer, the donations, we usually expect, we usually ask, something from the Lord in return. And uh, uh, and devotees look for, they have spiritual desires, so they ask the Lord, can we continue to be in devotional service, like at the lotus feet? And there are some, and there are many who are the materialists who really want to look for material gains. And here, what the Lord says is that having come to know what is on your mind, and the Lord already knows what's on your mind. So, so when you go to the temple, there is He already knows what you have a desire for. So there's really not a need for you to really express your desire. And we have seen in the previous passages that in the purports that the Lord really, like tries to fulfill your desires, as you like. So, for example, if wealth is what you desire, then He grants that to you. Of course, based on your karmic, actions, etc. And then, but what He's very, very keen is He's quite impartial to everybody, and He does fulfill whatever your desires say. And we also heard in a pulpit before that the Lord was unwilling to create a material world. So we could ask ourselves, why did really the Lord make this creation? And so there is an answer in this particular chapter previously, where it says that he's been reluctant. He didn't really. It was not his desire to create a material world, because he knows the material world is going to take us as spiritual souls away from him. But because we had our desires to enjoy, to have sense enjoyment without him in our presence. That's why he fulfilled this desire. So this also goes on to say how much the Lord is really compassionate, for us, how much He really fulfills our desires. And that's what He's, like also saying this in text 23, where He talks about, He says that I have already made arrangement for you. And then he goes on to text 25, where he says that the Emperor Swambhuva Manu, the son of Lord Brahma, who is well known for his righteous acts, has his seat in Brahmavarta and rules over the earth with its 7 oceans. So this is where we ended last time, and this is where we kind of get an inkling of what the Lord must be thinking. And from text 26 onwards, he explains in a little bit more detail what's already there in the mind of Karma Muni, because he's asked for a partner of like disposition in one of his previous verses. And in text 26, what the Lord says is that the day after tomorrow, O Brahmana, referring to Kadamba Muni, that celebrated emperor, which is Swambhu Manu, who's expert in religious activities, because he is, he rules the world, the world in a very righteous manner, will come here with this queen Satarupa, wishing to see you. Now, this is, as we know, whenever there are marriage proposals, like whenever there are marriage arrangements to be made, the parents, play a key role as per the Vedic tradition. So let's see what happens further. So then the Lord says that he's got a grown-up daughter, and that's Devati, although he's not really shared her name in this. That will be done subsequently. So she's ready for marriage, and she has good character and all good qualities. She's also searching for a good husband. And my dear sir, her parents will come to see you, who are exactly suitable for her, just to deliver their daughter as your wife. So here the Lord says, he gives the qualities of the partner, which is a girl of like disposition, and that's what is in the desire of that's what Kadamba Muni desires. So he would like a partner who would be able to support him both in his material and spiritual advancements. And the Lord is sharing about the qualities of the partner. That's the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu and his queen Satirupa. And he says that she's ready for marriage, so like of marriageable age, and then a good character, all good qualities, and also searching for a good husband. So so here, Prabhupada's purport is very something that can that's quite revealing, especially in today's modern world. So what Prabhupada says is that the selection of a good husband for a good girl was always entrusted to the parents, and it's the parents' duty who needs to search out a similarly qualified man, and that's girls are never thrown into the public street to search out their husband. That's very interesting, like what the Prabhupada's purport says, because we haven't, we are in a world where arranged marriages are, like becoming a bit more scarce. Now, I must say that, like I can reflect on my own, situation. So, many years ago, like my grandmother and, um, my wife's grandmother, they were friends, so they were, so they exchanged horoscopes, and one thing led to another. Then, we met in, in Mira. That's my wife's, like uncle's place in Chennai, and then, it was like a big gathering. We had all our relatives from her side and my side. And then we, like then exchanged vows, and then we had a courtship period for a few months, and then we got married. And that's how it really, our journey of marriage really started off. Now this is where, like as parents, neither, my wife nor I were allowed to select our own husband independently. But it's not really because we felt it was, we felt we were being forced to doing something. We just felt that, like our parents and our grandparents, would really, like I think, would really mean best for us. And that situation has changed quite a lot. If you look at the situation today, so today, even in India, there are arranged marriages are being seen. Yes, I mean it still continues to be practiced in a big way, but there is also a growing number of like boys and girls who find love. And what Prabhupada says here is that. Um, out of the urge of sex desire, a girl may accept anyone, but if the husband is chosen by the parents, they can consider who is to be selected and who is not. And also, according to the Vedic system, the girl is given over to a suitable boy by the parents. She is never allowed to select her own husband independently. Now, this really is a question that begs to be asked in today's world. So, is this still relevant? Given where the world is moving towards, and where like marriages happen without necessarily the parents coming into the picture, at least in the selection. Of course, they do get involved in the in the ceremonies and the setting up of the marriage, arrangements, etc. So it's not very easy to have an answer to this particular question, but it's again to say that the Vedic system. Is the Vedic system truly relevant today, in today's world? And maybe I'll just pause here. And I know many of us, who lead the Grihastha, I just wanted to get your views on whether the Vedic system of, that Prabhupada describes in the purport, whether it's relevant today or not. So, would you have any views on that? Please feel free to unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Pati Mataji.
Prabhuji, I fully endorse the Vedic structure and the injunctions about the marriages. And obviously, as the age moves on, it is impossible that, as you explained so very clearly, that it's hard and it probably doesn't happen more. But I feel that the success of marriage is it diminishes if it's so-called love marriage, because it's kind of very temporary, in my opinion. Kind of temporary emotions, probably a few years, and then I'm not saying all of them fail, but I think the failure rate is possibly higher. Whereas I know my parents and so many others I know of it, like marriage as you did. So and they were together for 60 years, 65 years. So and again, they didn't even know each other, meet each other. So I'm a strong believer in that, but that's just me. So but you really explained it quite well. That it doesn't carry on in this age, probably not so much.
Yeah, ultimately, thank you so much. And if you recall in in one of the early sessions, I know Shanish Prabhu had mentioned, and that was something that we left with, which also got me thinking. How come diverse rates have increased so much? And I said 42% in UK, but like in ISKCON it's much more. I mean, among devotees. So again, coming to the point of is it really happening because things are not being done as per the Vedic system? So probably the answer is yes, because we haven't really had such a alarming increase of diverse rates. Even in India, actually, I keep hearing my friends, it's and I find it a bit I don't know. It's probably my I'm a bit too old for this particular world, but it does seem that there are these incompatibility issues, and the entire premise of marriage being an institution for life, and for us to preserve, to make adjustments, it does not seem to gel well. It seems to be it seems to be a attitude that seems to have it be losing its its meaning completely. But of course, there is no right or wrong answer in this. But yes, I think we are where we are, and I think this this Prabhupada's purpose just gives allows us to step back, to stop and really reflect on what direction we are moving, and also what guidance we can provide to our children.
But Prabhuji, isn't it also that it is more acceptable? A divorce is more acceptable now than it was many years ago, and during those Vedic times it wouldn't have been. And also availability of other partners has become more and more kind of other partners become more available. So there is that kind of availability that kind of stops your marriage, and then you kind of have feelings for somebody else. So it's again the moving on with that time that is probably an effect as well.
Absolutely. So then again, the question is, are these Vedic teachings and are these principles applicable to the modern world today? So, and sometimes you may have, sometimes it's very clear that yes, they are applicable, but in some cases like these, one has to think through a little bit more, because there are so many different levels of meaning. For example, I mean, there are so many love marriages. I mean, many marriages where the parents were not involved, which is very successful. And there are many marriages where the parents were involved, which are not successful. So it's it's. I mean, there's no one easy thing, but something just for us to reflect on and understand, the premise of marriage and why we want to do marriage in the first place. And it's not really out of sex desire, because if you were to really look at marriage itself, why do we marry? Is it really because of lust? Or as Karadama Muni, here is looking for a partner who would help him in his spiritual and material advancement. And he's also following the instructions, to create progeny. So he's doing that with a very, very, with divine instructions. And when we look at the institutional marriage, are we looking at it purely from a physical perspective? Or are we looking at it as a way by which we can spiritually advance? And that's where, when, the husband and the wife, both of them, follow Krishna conscious activities, the family becomes more happy, and then the possibility of the children becoming Krishna conscious and becoming devotees is also quite high. I've seen lots of very inspiring examples in the manner, and many families, and they lead lives, and very very blissful. They manage the grihast ashram so well, along with the spiritual activities, that it's always an inspiration to really see them. And I see some examples, a lot of examples in this particular sangha as well. So let's move on to text 28. So here the Lord continues, and what he says is that that princess or holy sage will be just the type that you have been thinking for in your heart for all these long years. She will soon be yours, and she will serve you to your heart's content. So here's where what I was saying earlier, that the Prabhupada says that the Lord awards all benedictions according to a heart's desire of a devotee. And in fact, not just that, in he gives multifold as well, because Kadamba Muni had just asked for a girl of like disposition. But what the Lord is offering to Kadamba Muni is a princess, and a princess who's none greater than the daughter of Emperor Swayambhuva and his queens. So much more than what Kadamba Muni would have even expected. And what Prabhupada also says here is that similarly, it is only by God's grace that a girl gets a husband suitable to her heart. And similarly, only by God's grace can one get a nice wife just as he desires. So what does this really tell us? So if you have to look at that, discussion that we just had about marriage, whether we like it or not, it's only by God's grace that we get a suitable partner. And if we can pray to him, if we can pray to the Supreme Lord that please find a partner to me with whom I can lead a very blissful life, a spiritually advanced life, then he will grant it to you. So where we make decisions where we do not either consider parents, or if we do not really take the consent or take the shelter of the Lord, then it's quite possible that we get like a partner that we may not necessarily be happy with. So what Prabhupada says here is that the best way for you to get the partner of your choice is to just pray to the Supreme Lord, and he will fulfill your desire, just like as it's doing for Kadamba. And what else? So Prabhupada says here that Kadamba Muni desired only a wife, but because he was a devotee of the Lord selected a wife for him, was the emperor's daughter, a princess. And what Prabhupada also says is that if we depend on the choice of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we will receive benedictions in greater opulence than we desire. So the Lord actually is so benevolent that we do know that if we take one step towards him, he takes many steps towards us. So if we have a desire, then he sincere desire, and then he really fulfills that many multiple times. There is something else that Prabhupada says here, which is quite interesting in this particular purpose. So, and that's the question of intercaste marriage. So, this is again something that's been a very modern phenomenon, because initially the Brahmins would marry Brahmins, Kshatriyas would marry Kshatriyas, and so on. So that was a certain way by which marriages used to happen. But it's very interesting to note here that Kadamba Muni was a Brahmana, whereas Emperor Swayambhuva was a Kshatriya, which means that his daughter would also be Kshatriya. So he says that intercaste marriage was current even in those days. So it's not that you cannot marry. However, the system, it's good to understand what the Vedic system then was. The Vedic system was that a Brahmana could marry the daughter of a Kshatriya, but a Kshatriya could not marry the daughter of a Brahmana. So that's what the authoritative, principle Vedic tradition is. And then he also speaks about, Prabhupada also gives an example of Shukracharya offering his daughter to Maharaj Yayati, who's a very who's a very respected king, and but he had to refuse because he had to refuse at a point of time, but he only did that with special permission of the Brahmana. That's because the king was following the Vedic tradition, and the Vedic tradition said that a Brahmana, a Kshatriya could not marry the daughter of a Brahmana. But because he got the special permission from the Brahmana, he went ahead and married. So today, as we speak, the intercaste marriages are getting very common, and of course, again, as we spoke about, there are those that are successful, there are those who are not. But what this really tells us is that we need to be very careful about whom we select as a partner, and what we're looking for a partner has to be aligned with how we make either material advancement or and spiritual advancement. So it's not just about finding a partner who's very attractive, physically, or who's endowed with a lot of wealth. So, but it's really someone who can really be your partner, who can help you to grow spiritually and also materially. So now text 29, the Lord also says that, his wife, the Muni's wife, will bring forth the 9 daughters from the seed sown in her by you. And then through the daughters, the sages will beget children. So coming to the early question about understanding how the Swayambhuva, Manu's progeny started off. So this is where Vidura is getting the answers from Sage Maitreya. And finally, we come to text 30, with where the Lord says that with your heart cleansed by properly carrying out my command, resigning to me the fruits of all your acts, you will finally attain me. So this is quite an important purport, and we do think of ourselves as the doer many of the times, and but we always have to remember that nothing in this world can really work without the Lord's sanction. So there are three aspects to any action, and then there is a subsequent reward or a fruit of action that that emanates from that. So one is the doer. So we do our we do things in our in our best, with our best endeavor, whether it's working hard in the job that we do, whether it's performing devotional service. We try to do this to the best of our ability. However, there are also other 2 things which also needs to be considered. One is the Prakriti, which is the material world, by which also influences our actions, and then it gets really sanctioned by the Lord. So our interaction with the world and the Lord's sanction are also important in terms of in terms of getting the fruits of action. And that's why we could study hard, we could write an exam, but then we may not necessarily be able to influence in the results of the action, although our endeavors will help contribute to that. Similarly, if we may be working very hard at work, but unless the law really sanctions, it's going to be difficult for you to get that much contribution. So, so here, Prabhupada, notes that Tirti Kritasesha Kriyartaha. This is an, he says that these words are important. And Tirtha means at a sanctified place where charity is given. And we do know that when we go to, temples, we do find, find that, the devotees are in a more, they're more generous, because they believe that, when you give munificently charity, then, it's, then you get, the blessings of the Lord. And the system is still current. I mean, for those of you who have been to the temples like Tirupati, you would know that they have these coffers, and then there's a lot of donations that keep getting added in this, and then that gets moved, and then we have another set of coffers. So it's really these are where people when they visit those temples, they give sufficiently, in the hope that in their lives are going to be both materially and spiritually advanced. And the Lord also says that in order to sanctify your activities and the results of your action, you will offer everything unto me. So do your prescribed duty, but do not become detached from the fruits of your action, and surrender all your action to me. So, and that's also so what Prabhupada says is that whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you sacrifice, the result should be given to me only. And that's why even when we perform yajna, when we perform various sacrifices, even if it's to the demigods, it's always Lord Vishnu who is, who is invoked first. And then, because he's the ultimate recipient of all the sacrifices. So he says here in the Bhagavad Gita that I'm the enjoyer of all sacrifices, all penances, and everything done for the welfare of mankind or society. So if you recall, Kardama Muni has spent years and long years of penance, and so all that is being is for the enjoyment of the Lord, and then he's granting Kardama Muni his heart's desire. And is there anything else? So yeah, so this is so just to sum up, what the Lord says in these verses are essentially what he's doing is to really fulfill Kardama Muni's desire of getting a partner of like disposition, so that he can follow the instructions that was given to him in terms of creating a progeny for the material world. And as we move further in the chapter, we will get to know a little bit more about the later verses around how Kardama Muni acted upon this, and how he received the most excellent wife and child because of all the penances, because of his sincere desire, because of him being an exalted devotee, because of his surrendering all the fruits of the action to the Lord, because of his trusting the Lord to take care of him. And as we do this, especially in the month of Kartik, let's ask ourselves, how often do we act like Kardama Muni? We always have these hesitation. We always have a desire, but we do struggle to let go 100% of us, to surrender to the Lord. It doesn't come very, very easy to, at least it doesn't come very easy to me. So what we really should be looking at this particular interaction between Kardama Muni and the Lord is around how we should also seek the Lord in the spirit of humility, in the spirit of detachment of the fruits of action, in the confidence and in the trust that the Lord will do whatever is good for you. And that really brings us to the yeah. I mean, that's all what I really had to say. So we have a few minutes. So happy to take any questions, or if there are any reflections, because this is a topic that's very close to our heart, because we touched upon the institution of marriage. We touched upon what's the Vedic system of marriage, how that's been changing in modern times, and how whether it's relevant or not. And Fatima did mention that it's relevant. I personally think as well, but not everybody may share our point of view. And then we also saw how the Lord fulfilled his exalted devotee's desire, like even manifold, going on to say that don't worry about surrender yourself and just pray to the Lord with a sincere heart, and then he will manifest them manifold. And then the Lord also gives says that surrender all your results, and then and then we'll see, and then from then on, Kardama Muni will follow will follow the Lord's instructions with humility and is in a state of complete surrender, like how Arjuna did when in the Battle of Kurukshetra. So in case of Kardama Muni, it was the desire was about a like getting a partner of like disposition. In Arjuna's case, it was a dilemma: should I fight this war? Should I not fight? Should I fight a war where I know for sure that my relatives are going to be killed, or should I forget all about it and should I leave? So he also had this, this dilemma, and we saw how in the Bhagavad Gita he completely surrendered, and through that surrender came, the realization of what he must be doing as his prescribed duty. So there is a lot of learning in this in this interaction between the Lord and Kardama Muni, yeah, I think we can reflect a lot on the what the Lord has said, and also what Kardama Muni had shared as prayers in the previous verses. So any questions, any reflections?
Prabhuji, thank you. I have no questions. I just want to say thank you for conducting the class of the station. So a lot of respect and my humble obeisances to you. That requires a lot of patience. So thank you so much. And it was a great class. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Pati Mataji. So I think sometimes I was very fearful because I can share briefly what transpired. So I was in Reading and I had to take a like a cab to and then I would have been very much on time. I would have reached home by around 7:15, and that would give me enough time to rest and refresh up, etc. It so turned out that there's been a few crashes, and the traffic was just not moving at all. And then I did speak to Rashmi Mataji to see if it's possible or not. And then I said I'm going to find a place which is quiet. And I also said, Krishna, please help me out of this, because I know that I'm not going to reach my home on time, but allow me to come to a place which is quiet. And very interestingly, the only place that I could find really quiet, and I hope I hope there's not too much of disturbances, was St. Pancras International, because I found that there is this huge area which is a bit far from the trees, but it's completely free and there are not many people moving around. And the moment I saw this place, I said, this is the place where I really will be doing this ardent trouble. So I think it's also, Krishna's way to give me this place, because I was not sure where am I going to find the space in a station where, there'll be a lot of sound, people are coming and going out. And so I'm very grateful to, Krishna for even giving me this, some space actually. So, yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Your intentions were very pure, so thank you for that. And yeah, we didn't have any disturbances at all. There were no distractions. We were fine. Even though Wi-Fi worked, so everything. Yeah, for me, I am really, really grateful. Thank you, Prabhuji. That was huge. I would be rushing to get home generally at this time of the day. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Pati Mataji. And if there are no more questions, Shri Kushri Mataji, would you like to wrap up with the end with the Vishnu prayer, please?
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad you found a nice quiet spot to conduct the class, and very well done. So we really enjoyed your class. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's all say the Vanchakalpa prayer together. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Thank you all so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Prabhuji, very nice class.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.